For 7 whole years, I've lived through video calls, text messages, and watching my friend live abroad. And every single time we hang up, the same thing hits me. I need to get out of Canada. I wasn't building a life that I wanted back home. I got stuck in the same grind, going nowhere fast. But every single time I thought about leaving, 2 giant brick walls were getting in my way. No courage, no money. Then, one random day, 2 things happened, and they happened back to back. That completely changed my life in under 48 hours. First, my tax return came in, and that was enough to buy our tickets. Then minutes later, a knock was at the door. That was my post lady. She was delivering my son's passport. It was actually on a video call with my best friend who was living in Albania. So we started teasing my son about, we're moving tomorrow. And my friend and I, we were just joking around with my son. But then after sitting down in front of my laptop and my friend and I going through Skyscanner, trying to find out if there was actually an affordable flight for my son and I to get on, and soon. Because we knew that if we stayed longer, that money would have been gone. Because Canada's prices are expensive. So I needed to hightail it out of Canada real fast if I was gonna pull this off. So when I sat down at that laptop, I opened it up and I nervously kept giggling to my friend, making these funny little remarks about, oh, wouldn't it be funny if I landed in Albania on the same day you come back from Italy on your day trip? We just kind of joked around and laughed. And then as I'm texting my other friend about, can you drive us to the airport? As soon as I got that confirmation, I hit that button. I didn't think about it. I didn't do anything. I just hit the button. And that 7 years of procrastination just became a reality, and real fast. My friends back in Albania, they thought I was joking until I actually sent them the confirmation. I sent it to her because I knew me going through the airport, I was already nervous enough. I didn't have a clue on how to even work airports, but I knew she did. She got that confirmation, she saw it, she logged into my account, and she looked at her daughter and said, I think Carrie and Connor are actually coming this time. I had less than 48 hours to pack what we could in 2 suitcases and 2 backpacks to get a gaming rig, my laptop, our personal possessions that we wanted to bring, and our clothes, and get it all ready and get to the airport within 48 hours.
I'm starting on the packing. I threw everything into my suitcase because I had started packing it on my bed, but now I have to unpack it. So here's my clothes I'm going through. I need to get all that stuff on the couch into this suitcase. Wish me luck.
You give yourself 48 hours to move across the Atlantic. You don't have time for the traditional move. We consider our lives going into suitcases and carry-ons. But as we were preparing to move abroad, disaster hit. All of our electronics decided to crap out. We lost the gaming rig and we lost my cell phone. And for us, that's 2 major things that we needed to have. Because of what we do, content creating and gaming online for my teenage son, we couldn't just buy the cheapest, lowest brand out there. We needed something really good. So replacing my cell phone and replacing his gaming rig, here is the exact financial damage we incurred before leaving. 1, the flight cost me just a little under $1,850 Canadian. Then we had the emergency gaming rig, which was just under $2,000. And then my cell phone, luckily I got that secondhand off of Facebook Marketplace. So that was another huge hit. Then we were able to sell a few things so that we still had $126 leftover pocket change for those stops along the way to get to Toronto. We went from Montreal to Spain to Tirana. So because we left in the evening, we had to make a stop to pick up dinner in Montreal. Then when we got to Spain, we were so hungry, so I had to exchange the $40 that I had cash in my pocket for euros. That then went and bought us Burger King. We got a hamburger and a drink each. And then when we got on the plane, we both got a bottle of water. And when I landed, I had about $23 euros left that I tried to switch into lek. And I had about $102 Canadian still in my bank account, which then I had to withdraw from an ATM here in Tirana, which gave me about 5,000 lek, which is $50 Canadian. And luckily, about a week after arriving, I got a GST back pay come in and a couple other small government refunds that were owed to me. And that came to a total of just under $1,800, which was able to pay for my first month's rent and my deposit and my agency fee. Now, most of the time here in Tirana, you're paying your first month's, your last month's, your deposit, and half that amount of rent is an agency fee. So if your rent is $400, you're going to pay $200 to your agent. But I was lucky to find an apartment that only needed first month's rent and deposit and agency fee. Now, fast forward to today, I'm working at an English as a second language training center here in Tirana. And that amount of money that I get from that actually covers my rent, my bills, and my food, and gives me a little bit of extra money to play with if I want to go out for coffee or if I want to take my son to the mall for dinner. And that's fine with us, because back in Canada, I didn't even make enough to cover my rent. So I had to have a roommate, and I'm living out of the food bank most of the time. Here, there's no food bank, but we live quite comfortably. We're very happy with the life that we've made. Now, I need to be 100% transparent to you. Timing on the move is crucial, not only because of when you get back pay or when you can gather up money, but it's also tourist season. So when school gets out, prices go up here. And even in Tirana, I even find that when I'm in the city central, all the little gift shops and stuff that I usually hit, the prices are almost double to triple. So timing your move is very, very important, because if you don't want to be in the city central and you go to places like Vellore, Saranda, the big tourist season, not only does the food go up, your small markets go up, but the rent goes up. So if you come when it's not a tourist time and you're off season, the prices of apartments are so much cheaper. And that's when you want to actually think about when you're going to move abroad, because flights are expensive during tourist season. We all know that. So you don't want to hit during the summer, during March break, or during Christmas. Again, your prices go up. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about moving abroad. Now, the other thing that you want to think about when you're moving is this. Albania, for Canadians, it's only 90 days travel visa when you come abroad. But for Americans, it's 365. Now, if you think about somewhere like Georgia, Canadians get 365 days free tourist visa. So you gotta weigh the pros and the cons. So deep dive into everything and research. I can't stress that enough. Now, as I said earlier, I did 7 years of following my friend while she was living abroad. From going to China to back to BC to almost going to Poland to coming here. And through that whole journey of hers, I've been watching, I've been listening, I've been doing my research, and those are all the places that I did want to go. Now, finally, we all landed here in Albania, and I'm grateful for coming here. It's been the best thing I've ever done. And And as I said, my money stretches so much farther. So why did I choose Albania? Well, look at the map. The map will tell you. I've got Italy and Greece right beside me. It's very easy to catch the ferry or a flight. The flights are so inexpensive. Go there, have a day trip. You don't need to book a hotel because you can literally fly out of Tirana at 6 o'clock in the morning and return back at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and have spent that entire day in Italy or in Greece. They're beautiful places. And to be honest, if you're in Saranda, you can actually look across the water and see Greece. You get a low cost of living, the Mediterranean culture, and an effortless access to all of Europe. What more could you ask for? It took 7 years of courage and 48 hours. It took 7 years of wishing and 48 hours of courage and $126 to my name to reboot my life. And if you're sitting on the fence waiting for that perfect time and tens of thousands of savings, sometimes you just need that push. I didn't know when my perfect time was going to come. I didn't know if I would ever do this. But that day, everything lined up. I had money in my account for that flight. I had a few bucks in my pocket. I knew I was going to get enough coming in later to pay for my rent. That was the push that I needed to just walk out the front door. I did it without telling anybody, and I just did it. So if you want to see what daily life in Albania really looks like with a teenager, hit that subscribe button, make a comment. I want to hear what you have to say on where the one country is that you wish to move to. So until next time, this has been Carrie from Carrie Unplugged. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.